I think when you think of the Sussexes, Meghan Markle is not Meghan Markle. She's not on speaking terms with any member of her family. She's quarrelled with her father. She's quarrelled with her sister, etc., etc., etc. And for Harry to be in the same position would be both ludicrous and intolerable, given the fact that they seem to depend on a tremendous amount of public popularity, which at the moment they don't have.
Prince Harry is returning to the UK amid reports of a Balmoral summit. We've yet to hear exactly what Prince William makes of it. Will the hostility between the two princes continue to unravel in public, or will they finally find a way to resolve their differences and move the monarchy forward? How much tolerance will the public have if there is continued ill feeling publicly? We've heard, of course, from Harry that he's not going to do interviews, he's not going to make his feelings public. It'll be interesting to see whether that is sustainable. Ian Wilson is a historian, writer and columnist and joins me. Good morning.
Hello there, Peter.
I'm interested on your piece that I've been reading about how much you think the feud between the Waleses and the Sussexes, not just Harry and William, of course, Catherine and Meghan are involved too. How much of that do you think is fundamental to what happens when Harry and Meghan get back and how things progress?
I think it is fundamental. We should never forget that the monarchy only exists because the British public want it to exist. And therefore, we haven't got to like them personally. We haven't got to think they're like film stars. We're not in love with them, though we might be. But we've got to find them tolerable people. And the reason that Andrew Mountbatten Windsor was booted out was that he became an intolerable figure. For the scandalous way in which it was alleged, he's always denied wrongdoing, that he'd behaved. Well, I think to have two brothers at the very centre of this story who won't speak to one another, who scowl at one another in public, and one brother who's written this ludicrous book accusing his elder brother of beating him up on the floor of a house, and a whole lot of very disobliging remarks about our present Queen Camilla, about the very, very popular Princess Catherine, the Princess of Wales. This can't go on. These two men, young men, still roughly speaking by my standards, young men, they've got to resolve it. And if they don't, I really think the monarchy is in trouble.
Tell us a little bit about one of the people they have in common, their father, of course. The King being unwell, suffering from cancer, doing a valiant job with that, and certainly being an inspirational figure to many people, as indeed his wife talked about this week. I just wonder how the King's illness factors into this, in your view.
It's interesting, isn't it? None of us know. I mean, the King... I'm very critical of the King in many respects, and I've been incredibly rude about him as a journalist when he was the Prince of Wales, but he's really risen to the occasion of becoming the King. He behaves with enormous dignity. As you say, the way he's dealt with his illness has been inspiring to all sorts of people, and he's a brave, good-humoured man who knows how to do this job of being the monarch for us. And I think when you think of the Sussexes, Meghan Markle is not Meghan Markle. She's not on speaking terms with any member of her family. She's quarrelled with her father. She's quarrelled with her sister, etc., etc., etc. And for Harry to be in the same position would be both ludicrous and intolerable, given the fact that they seem to depend on a tremendous amount of public popularity, which at the moment they don't have. And so I think it's probably been a factor in their decision to come and live in the UK. The King is ill. He's in his late 70s. And eventually, sadly, the day will dawn when he dies. And for them to be in America, still on semi-no speaks with any member of the royal family, would look absolutely awful. So I'm sure they've decided they ought to be around in Britain in these, alas, last months or years of the King's life.
There's also a grim anniversary coming up in about 10 days' time. It's the anniversary of Princess Diana's death, 29th anniversary, but the 30th anniversary is coming up.
Exactly.
We know as well that Charles Spencer has a book out where he says he'll lift the lid on that period as well. Apparently there is more to say about it, even with the acres of newsprint that's been devoted to it. I just wonder how you feel Earl Spencer may factor into this.
I think he's a very big player in this story. as we know, during their summer visit earlier this summer, Meghan and Harry went to Althorp, Charles Spencer's great house in Northamptonshire, where Diana is buried. It's an extraordinarily moving place to visit. She's buried you can't actually visit the grave as they did, because it's on an island in the middle of a lake, but you can see it afar. It's like something in the Arthurian myth. And this enormously charismatic figure, Diana, who was far more charismatic than any member of the royal family has ever been, and who still shines out as the most extraordinary person. She is still a key figure in this drama, and as you say, her brother Charles, who's a very good writer, by the way, he won't have to do ghostwriting as Harry did with his stupid book. He is lifting the lid, and he made it very clear at Diana's funeral that he was very angry with the royal family, and I think that feud in his heart still goes on, probably. And I think it's very likely that there will be a sort of alternative court. There's the court of the Waleses in Kensington or Windsor or wherever you think they chiefly live, and there will be the court of Northamptonshire, of Althorp. And this is not very good for the monarchy. It makes it very interesting for journalists to write about it, and it'll be exciting for the public. But you're right, Lord Spencer is a key figure in this story.
Just speaking of family, I think Meghan is on speaking terms with her mother, who's looked after the children.
But she's no speaks with her dad, in spite of the fact that the pathetic old chap has been begging her to speak to him. And she's no speaks with her sister.
How sustainable do you think it is for Harry? He's been such a public figure. He's going to be invited to all sorts of things. There are going to be all sorts of public appearances. He's bound to say something that is going to be in some way controversial, even if it's a reasonably innocuous remark. The media, of course, will seize on that. I just wonder, this idea touted earlier this week that there's been this kind of agreement between Buckingham Palace and Montecito that Harry will take not quite a Trappist vow of silence, but say very little. How sustainable do you think that is, especially when it comes to the fact that a lot of the currency of the monarchy are things they do and say?
Well, Peter, I think you've put your finger on it, really. We watch this space because although Harry has said he won't give interviews, as you say, he'll turn up at some dinner or some charitable event. Somebody will catch him off guard, and it's all too likely, I think, that he will say something which we, the journalists, will blow up probably out of all proportion. So he's got to tread very carefully. I mean, I think the thing about Harry, if you remember the old Harry, before he met Meghan, yes, he sometimes was found under the table at a nightclub. Yes, he had very unsuitable girlfriends, etc., but he was basically a very popular young man, and with good reason. He'd been a brave soldier. He's jolly. He's got a good sense of humour, though he seems to have lost a lot of it. And I think he can easily recover his popularity. He's a much-loved figure, and William is a bit solemn. Harry isn't. I think there's every reason to suppose that in his return to England, Harry will regain a lot of popularity with the public. The missing ingredient, which we can't guess what's going to happen, is Meghan. And she is not a popular figure in this country. She hasn't behaved with dignity or with particular pleasantness. And she has enormous power over Harry, of course. And that's what we're watching.
And if she appears in this TV drama, as the reporting is that she may well be in Guy Ritchie's drama The Gentlemen, what effect do you think that has? Because it's a very different aspect of monarchy to have someone who is maybe not a working royal, but nonetheless a royal, the Duchess of Sussex, appearing on screen, pretending to be someone else, acting, having a job in a public way that is not, well, it's unprecedented, I suppose.
Well, it's not entirely unprecedented. King William IV had a girlfriend called Mrs. Jordan, who was a very famous actress, and she bore him 10 children. So it isn't unknown in the royal family for royal personages to have a partner who's on the stage.
This is the value you add to the conversation. You know this stuff.
But I mean, the trouble is, as you rightly say, we, the hacks, the just journalists, are going to be watching this programme with a very unserious eye, I'm afraid, and we'll be mocking it and pulling it to bits. And every little line of the script will be full of innuendo for us, and it's going to reduce her popularity and her dignity even more. And I actually think given some of the very sad stories that have happened in the press in the last couple of weeks, we do need to go easy, we journalists, in the extent to which we unleash fury against public figures. And I feel sorry. I actually feel extremely sorry for Meghan Markle coming back, because she's going to face this barrage of mockery.
Ian Wilson, always worth talking to you about these issues, and indeed many others. Ian Wilson, historian, writer and columnist, and teaching me, of course, about William IV's girlfriend as well. Really interesting to hear that.